Welcome to our post-pandemic live Industrial Development Agency meeting. We're happy to be here, and we're happy everybody's here with us. I'd like to call the meeting to order and start with a roll call of the Board of Directors. I'm Kathy Murphy.
Ricky Brown, Secretary.
Steve Thompson.
Sonneborn.
And Ken Kinsey, who is also a board member, was unable to join us this morning. Proof of notice was properly served for this meeting, and we're going to start with our first public hearing. Beacon Armory, I believe. Judy?
Yes, good, excuse me, good morning. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing pursuant to Section 859-A of the New York General Municipal Law will be held by the City of Syracuse Industrial Development Agency on the 20th day of July, 2021 at 8 a.m. local time at 233 East Washington Street, Common Council Chambers, City Hall, Syracuse, New York, in connection with the following matter. Beacon Armory LLC, or an entity to be formed by the company, requested the agency undertake a project consisting of the acquisition of an interest in approximately 0.16 acres of land improved by an approximately 41,000 square foot six-story building located at 120-24 Walton Street. The reconstruction and renovation of the building for mixed use, including approximately 17,000 square feet on the subterranean level and first floor for commercial use, approximately 25,000 square feet on floors 2 through 5, to be divided into 30 loft-style residences consisting of approximately 850 square foot two-bedroom units and 25 approximately 575 through 650 one-bedroom units, and C, upgrades to all building mechanicals and facade improvements, collectively the facility. The acquisition and installation in and on the land and facility of furniture, fixtures, and equipment, together with the land and facility, the project facility. The granting of certain financial assistance in the form of exemptions from state and local sales tax and use tax and mortgage recording tax in accordance with Section 874 of the General Municipal Law, collectively the financial assistance. The appointment of the company or its designee as an agent of the agency in connection with the acquisition, reconstruction, renovation, equipping, and completion of the project facility, and the lease of the land and facility by the agency pursuant to a lease agreement, and the acquisition of an interest in the equipment pursuant to a bill of sale from the company to the agency, and the sublease of the project facility back to the company pursuant to a sublease agreement. The company shall be the initial owner or operator of the project facility. The agency will, at the above stated time and place, hear all persons with views with respect to the proposed financial assistance to the company, the proposed owner-operator, the location of the project facility, and the nature of the project. A copy of the application filed by the company with the agency with respect to the project, including an analysis of costs and benefits of the project, are available for public inspection during the business hours at the office of the agency located at 201 East Washington Street, 6th floor, Syracuse, New York. And I might add that we received no written comments on this.
Thank you, Judy. Can everybody hear me? Yes. As with all our public hearings, we are here to hear comments, and I would just ask that everyone state their name and address for the record prior to beginning their comments. So we'll start with, does anyone have any comments in support of this project? Does anybody wish to speak in support?
As always, it's with support and not support. So the support part is
nice
I'm really...
to know some things never change.
Yeah.
Especially after this pandemic.
Right, right. And just to be clear why I'm here.
Oh, that's even better. We'll just take a picture.
Exactly, exactly. And there hasn't been a squeaky wheel up here since the pandemic. So I thought it was about time that I
We're
at
happy
least
you're here.
show up and be that squeaky wheel until some things change. So the first thing that I'm supportive of is they're not asking for a pilot. That was great. But they are asking for almost, I don't know, $250,000, not quite, on tax relief. Okay, so that's where I want to say SIDA needs to change. And SIDA needs to say that if you're going to get those tax relief, you need to provide some, if you will, community benefits for the community. The Urban Jobs Task Force is really lobbying for two benefits. One is to make sure that, if you will, a carve-out for Syracusans is put into the local labor policy for the construction wages. And the cry is often that we can't do that because we're not sure of the capacity of Syracuse. Well, I just went through about, I don't know, 10,000, if not more, payroll records through user ID, and for the joint school construction data. So that was a $300 million project that had a 20% carve-out for Syracusans. So it turns out that there were plenty of Syracusans working on that project. They made pretty much 20%. Fortunately, they did it by Syracuse postal code, so it includes some suburbs like 13215, 13219, but I segregated all that. I'm going to share it with Judy afterwards, because as you think about what percentage should be, so we need that percentage for our neighborhoods, okay? We need to make sure those construction wages come home. So that's the community benefit, that our communities become whole because they're working with halfway decent wages, and they have a chance to create a resume and a career and not just a one-off. So by putting that in, I think that you will do that. There's also got a lot of data from Center State showing the capacity of Syracuse in terms of the construction trades. And so the capacity is there. And part of the reason why the capacity is there is that for over 10 years, the city and the school district, through their partners, have been actually training people. So there were like 254 Syracuse residents who were laborers on that project. And I don't know, 54 of them had asbestos removal also on top of that. There were carpenters, there were electricians, there were masons. So I think we've got to stop saying, oh, we're not sure Syracuse has that capacity. So that's my big push for the jobs. The other thing is around affordable rent. So this project, because it's not got a pilot, there has been no push to make sure it has affordable apartments, a percentage. That should just be across the board. What's happening downtown is pushing up the rents in neighborhoods like mine, which is right on the border. And that's not good. So we need to get some affordable rent, and the last push is that affordable rent is not based on Syracuse's metropolitan area, the 3 counties, or Onondaga County, so whose AMI is around 60,000, but the city's AMI is 38,000 something. That's 1.5, there's a 1.5 times there. And otherwise, you're not going to get affordable rents downtown. So that's my big thing. So please work on it, SIDA.
Thank you very much, Aggie. Appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in support of the project? Last call for comments in support of the project. Thank you. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against the project? Final call, anyone wishing to speak against? And last item, does anyone on the board, are there any questions or comments before we close the hearing? Thank you very much. Hearing none, the public hearing for the project is closed. Next item on our agenda is a review of the minutes of our last meeting held June 15th, 2021. Minutes were included in our board information packets. Are there any changes, corrections, concerns on the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Ricky, thank you. Is there a second? Second, Dirk, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Next item on our agenda is a new business item for Salina First LLC. I believe Sue has the correspondences. Great.
Can I just ask or point out a reminder? If you haven't signed in before you sat down, on your way out, would you sign in on the back sheet, simply so we can incorporate it in the minutes as we're supposed to be doing? Thank you. So on your agenda is a request from Salina First LLC to extend their agency agreement. As you, some of you may recall, we induced this project, which is located at 1081 South Salina Street, as a mixed-use project with a small piece of light manufacturing back at the end of 2017. The project was negatively impacted, unfortunately, as many projects have been, by COVID, increase in costs as a result of that, and the ability to put all of their financing together. So they are continuing to work on that, and they are simply asking that we extend their agency agreement to give them the time to complete those efforts through the end of this year. It does not confer any benefits. We have not closed with them. It's just giving them the opportunity to be prepared to close with us, if you will. So that is the extent of that resolution.
So, any questions, comments, concerns?
Quick question.
Sure.
So it says that they've raised 500 towards their goal, 500 commitments, $500,000 of commitments towards their equity.
I'm sorry, what was the
Total amount
I think it's $2 million,
total amount of equity they were looking to raise, $2 million.
I think.
Yes.
Okay. So the question was, because our setup doesn't allow us to be in the microphone and ask the questions to the people behind us, is the equity funding piece for the project is short, and what are they still in the process of raising, which appears to be between $1 million and $1.5 million, is that correct? Yes. As the number. So obviously, the extension is needed for that as part of the financing bridge. Yep. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the extension through December 31st, 2021 for the Salina First project? Motion made by Ricky. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Steve. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is also Sue, 101 Salina Street, sales tax.
Yes, good morning. You will recall a month or so ago, the board adopted resolutions necessary to undertake this project, which is the post-standard building, and to confer benefits onto the entity. They have come back and asked if the board would appoint them on a temporary basis as your agent. They are putting the final pieces of their financing together so that they will be prepared to close by the end of August, beginning of September. But they have commitments that need to be completed for some of their tenants, and they have some long lead items such as HVAC and other equipment, and they don't want to lose out on the construction period. And so they're asking for a temporary appointment through October 20th of 2021 so that they can take full advantage of this time. I would note that this is not an unusual request. We have in the past appointed other companies. I'm sorry, Ricky.
No.
I'm trying to see you.
It's really,
We have in the past appointed other companies with similar issues as your temporary agent. They will pay you 1/4% of your fee in order to get the temporary appointment, and they will pay the balance at closing.
Any other questions, comments? As Sue said, this is pretty standard for projects that are anxious to capitalize on a calendar for construction, you know, the season to do the construction. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution for the exemption?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Dirk, second by Ricky. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Next order on the agenda is a approval of correspondence carried by Sue for Carousel Center.
Good morning. So you received a request by the representative for the majority of outstanding bondholders with respect to the Carousel Center bonds. This is a request to have the agency appoint a replacement trustee, as well as a replacement paying agent and tender agent. Those entities normally are the same entity, which is why the request covers all of them. It is the replacement is at the direction of the outstanding bondholders. That is normal. They control the process. They have made the request. They have agreed to provide us with all of the necessary documents under the indenture and other ancillary documents demonstrating that the replacement trustee has the financial wherewithal, et cetera, to step into the shoes of the existing trustee and the various agents, and they are in the process of providing that to us. So the resolution is contingent upon receiving that, but what you're being asked to do is sign the agreement that actually makes the appointment of UMB Bank as the successor trustees, paying agent, and tender agent under the controlling documents.
Thank you, Sue. I'll just note the resolution states that the chairman of the agency will execute the documents once council has assured there's no change in the structure of the document. Is there any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve it?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Ricky. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Steve. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you all very much. Next item on the agenda, National Development Council.
Yes, this is a renewal of a contract. The contract period is from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th for the National Development Council, which acts as a consultant to the agency, and additionally the Neighborhood and Business Development Office and the city administration. This was discussed at the time of the budget. It was approved at your budget hearing in October. There is a small increase, $4,000 from last year's budget. I will say that in this past year, they have played a large role in helping the city consult on the parking garages. They have been meeting almost, I think, every other week with city administration on that. They also played a large role with the New Market Tax Credit project for Salt City Market. So they have really been very beneficial to us in general. And so we are just asking for renewal on this and approval.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the contract for next year?
Make a motion.
Made by Ricky, thanks. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Dirk and Steve. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, hearing none, motion carries. Thanks, Judy. Next item, Judy, is 327, Montgomery Street, our insurance.
Yes, this is a renewal. Again, this is something that we did have in the budget in October. This is a renewal for a property insurance policy for 327 Montgomery Street. As you know, the building is vacant. We actually polled, as we're required by our procurement policy, at 3 bids, and we actually got a bid of $1,400 less this year than we did before, so it was certainly a benefit to us to do that. And we are asking the board to approve this. I will say that regarding 327 Montgomery Street, as you know, it has been vacant for 2+ years. And one of the reasons it remained vacant was we were not entirely clear if the city would have a use for it, the city administration. It is likely that's probably not going to happen, and in the next couple months, we'll be working on an RFP, which we'll be presenting to you for approval.
To explore interests of sale, possibly, right? Great, okay. Any questions?
I have a quick question. Judy, do you know whether the insurance company knows that the building is vacant?
Do I know what?
Are they,
Does
is
the
the,
insurance company know that the building is vacant currently?
Oh, yes.
thank you.
That's one of the reasons why it's difficult to get this type of insurance. Yes, and as a matter of fact, the insurance adjuster has been through there.
Thank you.
Judy, is a comparable, coverage on both policies?
Is the coverage for the new policy, which is $1,400?
Yes.
Comparable to our previous policy?
It's very much so, yes. That was one thing we asked. Yeah.
Any other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the insurance policy?
So moved.
Thank you, Dirk. Second.
Ricky.
Second by Ricky. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Light Art Park. Judy.
Yes, I just wanted to make the board aware of this. We have a maintenance contract, as you know, you approved it earlier in the year with a maintenance, landscape maintenance, and they were simply required to mow, and they have mowed all of this time. And the reason for that was, originally, there was a group referred to as the Stewards of Life Art Park, and they were supposed to be taking care of the rest of the landscaping, the bushes, the flowers, all of that. Well, over the years, they have kind of disbanded, and as I discussed with you earlier this year, we are looking possibly to transfer the park, Light Art Park, to the Parks Department. And, I asked you earlier this year for permission to get an appraisal on the property. We haven't done that yet because the Parks Department, we're still in discussion. But in the meantime, last month it came to my attention that we had a homeless gentleman who had taken up residence in the park. And so we called social services. He was provided a number of services. He's no longer there. But what happened was, what we realized was, it was very overgrown. The bushes were very overgrown. It really needed to be maintained better than it has been. So I did inform the chairman, but on a kind of emergency basis, we gave our landscaper permission to do approximately $1,700 worth of landscaping work between now and the end of the year. He's already been in there. He took all the bushes down. He cleaned it, and he is going to maintain it through the end of his contract, which is November 1st. And certainly by that time, I would think that I will be able to come back to you and say what is going to happen with the park, which would be, hopefully, it will go to the park, it will be transferred to the Parks Department.
Questions?
Judy, were you able to find out the ownership and responsibilities for the art in the park?
Yes.
Sculptures?
We looked into that, and I talked to Rick DiStito, and they believe that we own it. That's what I was told. We will, and I know yours don't think that. I can see you shaking your head no.
It could be the 90% of possession is 9/10.
I will say though that
Gary.
I will say though that before any transfer, I think it would be wise if we check in to the people who have pieces there, and and what they want to do. I'm really hoping that Julie LaFave, who's the Parks Commissioner, she's aware of it also, you know, that we will take care of it one way or the other.
And Judy, I don't have any direct knowledge, and I have no reason to believe that the artists, if asked if they own it, wouldn't be happy to transfer it to either, probably to Parks and Rec or whatever at the time if it's appropriate. I just had a previous experience with one of the pieces of art that's there.
We actually have been asked recently if we can locate another piece of artwork that's downtown now, and the Public Arts Commission is looking for a place for it, and that's still in flux because they need funding to move it. So that's kind of up in the air at the moment.
So for now, the discussion is centered around improving the continued landscape contract through November 1st. Sue.
It's not technically an approval. Under your procurement policy, Judy has an obligation to notify the board. Because of the emergent situation, she had authority under the procurement policy to authorize the additional monies to take down, you know, trim the bushes and remove the brush so that we could eliminate or hopefully reduce the opportunity for homeless people to shelter there. But she does have an obligation to notify the board.
Thank you for the notification, Judy. Any questions further or comments for Judy on the park? Hearing none, thank you very much. Is there anything else, any other business, any new business that we have before us? Anybody have any other comments from our audience? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Ricky, second by Dirk. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carried. See you August